This is my story about when I was raped. I'm a guy, by the way. I want to share my story to the world because I want to help others like me and show you that you are not alone and that there are people out there who have been there themselves. I understand you on a different level than a therapist would who has read some books. Today I suffer from PTSD and depression from this incident. This has been going on for as long as I can remember, but my girlfriend is very supportive and has helped me. She told her parents about the incident too. Well, I don't blame her because Latinos have a very close connection to their families, unlike mine. This happened to me when I was 7 years old. I'm 21 right now. Me and my family were going from Stockholm to Gothenburg in Sweden to watch Monster Jam. I used to love big monster trucks when I was a kid. Just watching how powerful these big trucks were crushing small cars, it just excited me, just like every other fan who enjoyed monster trucks as well. We were staying at a hostel in a dark hidden alley. This was because we were poor and my parents had saved up enough money for Monster Jam and Lisenberg, an amusement park in Gothenburg. We could only afford a low quality hostel. It stank of damp and the receptionist was an old fat lady who smelled like a chimney. In the corner under the stairs sat an old man around his 60s. He looked like he was from the Middle East. He had a grey greasy beard and a bald spot on his head with grey hair on the sides. He was tall, fat, and was wearing a white buttoned up shirt, some black shorts and slippers. He looked at me with a disgusting evil smile while touching himself on his chest. He didn't have many teeth at all, and the teeth he did have were stained yellow and almost rotten. I froze instantly and couldn't move a muscle. I just stared at him. I felt the fear creep up all over my body, from my feet to the top of my head. Then suddenly, my mother, who held my hand, dragged me away and up the stairs to our room. I didn't see him for the rest of the afternoon, until the next day. We were going to Monster Jam to finally see the monster trucks. It was a really hot summer's day, and I was wearing only my small blue shorts while sporting a white tank top. We were walking down the street, and it was crowded with people. Then my father had to go to the toilet, so we went into a luxury hotel, and my father used the restroom. Me, my mother, and my sister sat on a bench in the hotel lobby. The bench was located just in front of a big window towards the street. We sat on the bench for a long time, and my mother was talking on the phone. My sister sat on my mother's right side, and me on the left. Then, suddenly, I felt like someone was watching me. I looked around the lobby and didn't notice anyone, but I still felt this feeling like someone was watching me. I turned around and instantly froze. The same old man who I saw at the hostel was standing at the glass window watching me. He was holding his left hand up to the glass to get a better view inside through the window, and his right hand down his pants. But I didn't know exactly what he was doing then due to my age. But I now know that I couldn't move and just stared at the guy in fear. I managed to get up the courage and tell my mother, but she just dismissed me. I then turned around to see if he was there, but he'd gone. Then my father came out of the toilets and we went out onto the street on our way to the Monster Jam. After a while, we were going to cross the street. It was crowded with people. I then heard someone calling out after me, so I turned around and saw the same man. But this time, he had his out and started stroking it with the same evil grin on his face. But now he was reaching out his hand and told me to come closer to him. "Come closer, little boy, come." I froze because I was so terrified because of what he was doing in the middle of the street. I was always a good kid, never did anything wrong, always listened to my elders. So I reluctantly walked towards him, and just when he was going to grab my hand, a Swedish man in his 30s noticed what was happening and stomped on the old man's hand. He started yelling in pain, and at this point, my mother pulled me by my hand as the stoplight became green, so I didn't see what had happened. Some days later, when we were sleeping, I was feeling the need to pee. We had no toilets in our room. The toilet was down the corridor and it was right next to the room near number 4. I started to walk to the toilet in the middle of the night. It was cold and the floors creaked in pain under my weight. as I tried not to alert anyone to my presence. Then, I heard some muttering in a foreign language from the room near number 4. As I opened the toilet door, the door from the room near number 4 swung open, and there he stood, the old man. He was wearing nothing except a small white tank top, with that disgusting grin on his face. I instantly froze in fear. I was terrified. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run back to my family, but I couldn't move. The next thing I remember was how he dragged me into the room and tossed me onto the bed. He yanked down my pants and started to rape me. I tried to scream, but he put his dirty underwear in my mouth and threatened me. He told me to shut up or he would kill me. It felt like hours went by, but when he was done, he passed out on the bed. I took this as my chance and made my getaway and ran out of there with my pants. I ran into the toilet and started to wash off the blood and semen. I was in shock. I couldn't believe what had just happened. I walked back to my family's room. They were all fast asleep, not knowing what had just taken place. I climbed into bed and laid there in the fetal position, crying softly. I still want to think to this day that it was a bad dream, but I'm still having that dream almost every night when I'm not sleeping beside my girlfriend. The moment I know it's true is when I go to the toilet and it still hurts.